So we'll just start with team news first of all, and the news about Christian. Just bring us up to speed with where things are at with him.
Yeah, really disappointing for Trapanovsky. Obviously, picked up a muscle injury last week in the build-up to the Kilmarnock game, and probably looking at another 2 to 3 weeks possibly without him. So obviously he'll continue his rehab during the international break, and hopefully won't be too long before we see him back involved.
Big blow, isn't it? Because he's been coming along terrifically well, hasn't he?
Yes, absolutely. He's really hit the ground running. Giving him being a new arrival and not played at this level before, and he was a real attacking threat for us, a very good outlet in those 1v1s, and obviously his goal contributions in the early part of the league was vital to us really in terms of scoring goals and assisting goals. So, but we've got a strong enough squad that we're able to adapt whenever we lose any one of our players, and I think that's why the recruitment is so important in the summer, that we have plenty of strength and depth within the squad.
And just in terms of others, you've got a few other bumps and bruises, not to deal with?
Yes, we do. I mean, we've got 2 or 3 boys there, but just carrying over niggles from the weekend. The change of surface down at Kilmarnock obviously doesn't help, and you're always concerned about players coming through that unscathed, and unfortunately we've had 1 or 2 pick up little niggles, but I'm not going to give too much away here this afternoon. We're still confident that 1 or 2 of those will be okay to train tomorrow and then play a part in the game on Saturday.
Just in terms of the game this weekend, just your thoughts going into it?
Well, you know what you're going to get with St Mirren. Probably the most physical team in the league. Really is land of the giants when you play against them, and you've got to do the basics well against them to get results. You've got to win those individual battles. We've got to show aggression, and we've got to match them in every area, and that's what we've done in the recent cup game when we managed to beat them at Tannadice. So we're needing a repeat performance, and it's going to be a difficult game, no doubt about it. We've had a few away games now. This will be the 3rd away fixture in a row for us, so it's been quite demanding, but at the same time the players are looking forward to it. We're well prepared, we know what to expect, and hopefully we can get a similar result to that of the cup game recently.
Is this, obviously you're currently 5th in the table, they finished 5th last season, is this almost the kind of game that could be a bit of a yardstick, like maybe a measure of where your team are at just now, and perhaps where you could get to come the end of the season? Well,
I think one thing the team has shown since the start of the season is that we can compete at this level, and I think if you look at the fixtures that we've played up to now, we've already played 5 of last season's top 6, if you like. Obviously Kilmarnock at the weekend, beat St Mirren in the cup, and we've already played against Dundee, Hearts and Rangers. We beat Hearts, drew with Dundee, and obviously had a narrow defeat to Rangers. So I think the fixtures that we've already played have hopefully proven to the group that they're more than capable of playing at this level. St Mirren are a slightly different challenge to other teams in terms of their direct approach. You're going to have to defend the box. As I said, you're going to have to win those individual battles, and when we get the opportunity to get the ball down and play, then we've got to go and try and hurt them and try and create goal scoring opportunities for ourselves. But the players are looking forward to it. It's a great venue to go to. The stadium has always managed to generate a good atmosphere there. I'm sure we'll bring a great travelling support again, and it's very, very nice to be back on a good grass surface as well. So a lot to look forward to.
Just a final one, just in terms of last weekend, I guess. I know you touched on this, I think, in your post-match, but I guess when you take a step back, the character and the grit and the desire and the fight are qualities which I would imagine now that are in this squad. You probably knew that anyway, but you've seen it firsthand, and those are qualities that you will need probably other points throughout the season as well.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, last weekend was a really strange game when you're analysing it back. We were very comfortable in the first 45 minutes, and probably could have been a couple of goals up. We had a really strange 15-20 minutes just after the break, where every ball that came in our box seemed to end in the back of the net. And like I said after the game last weekend, lesser teams would have thrown the towel in and went under and lost the game 4 or 5-1. I think it's testament to the group that they never gave up, and that's the kind of culture that we're trying to create here. You know, during the recruitment process, yes, we want to sign good quality players, but we want to sign strong characters as well. And I think, you know, that was typified in the performance in the last 20 minutes of that game down in Ayrshire last weekend, where, you know, they just never threw the towel in. They kept going. They got the second goal, and once we got it back to 3-2, I always believed we would take something from the game. And you know, it was a great result in the end, albeit extremely disappointed to lose the 3 goals in the manner that we did. But you know, like I said after the game, a point down at Rugby Park is never a poor result.
How frustrating is it as a manager to find yourselves with these injuries on the back of, you know, playing on an artificial surface, when going into the game, Bart Trapanovsky, you were injury-wise, you know, you were doing pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, look, these things can happen. You know, it's part and parcel of the game that we play in. You know, every team out there is suffering at the moment with injuries to key players, and we're no different. That's why you build a squad the way that we do. I mean, I think we're quite tight in terms of numbers, you know, in comparison to some of the other teams in the league. And we certainly can't afford to lose too many, because then it certainly does weaken the group. But you know, when these injuries happen, there's opportunities for other players in the squad, and you know, we've shown already at times in games this season how important the squad is going to be. Because you know, on Saturday, for instance, we've made 4 or 5 changes in the second half, and every player that came on the park made a really positive impact in helping the team take a valuable point from the game. So you know, we have to be able to withstand injuries and suspensions. It's just part and parcel of the game, and hopefully, you know, you don't get too many throughout the course of the season.
And how's Ryan Stream getting on in terms of his recovery?
He's doing great. He's making really good progress, actually, and you know, he's back training with the group in a non-contact form today, actually, and you know, that'll continue now over the next kind of couple of weeks until we're completely satisfied with the recovery to the muscle. We don't want to rush him now at this late stage, but it will be a real bonus to have him available for us in the near future.
And in the end, against Kilmarnock, a great result to get the draw, but you'll be hoping this weekend to go better and get back to the winning ways. Yeah, definitely.
I think the goals, you know, the manner of the goals that we conceded against Kilmarnock just weren't like us. You know, our defensive record at the moment is quite good. You know, even given we've conceded 3 goals in the last game, but you know, we'd only conceded 4 in the previous fixtures prior to Kilmarnock. So defensively, we've actually been really solid. We've got a good shape to us without possession, and you know, the guys at the back have always, you know, more often than not, defended the box well. We just didn't do that well enough in that 15-20 minute period after half time last Saturday. But we've spoke about it, we've analysed a lot of the footage, and we've worked hard on the training pitch to make sure that that kind of thing doesn't happen again this weekend.
Thank you.
The game on Saturday was a very unusual game to kind of follow it and see what was happening with it. Exciting. Dundee United, obviously, a lot of involvement in the first half. Kilmarnock come back, go 2 goals up. Dundee United come back. What sort of impression do you think that games like that give to people out with Scottish football? Do you think it gives them it's a game of excitement that anything could happen that they watch?
I think it's great from a neutral perspective, but you know, me as a manager, I would take a scrappy 1-0 victory all day long. But yeah, I mean, look, it was exciting. I think you had us quite dominant and quite in control in the first 45 minutes. Credit to Derek McInnes at half time. He, you know, made a few tactical changes and some personnel changes, and you know, they came flying out of the traps in the second half, and probably deservedly so, got them noses in front. But I think it was just a real test of character for my boys, and the fact that they came through it and were able to take, as I said, a really valuable point on the day was important, albeit we were extremely disappointed. You know, to be leading the game comfortably at 1-0 to then all of a sudden find ourselves 3-1 down. But I think in terms of the league and you know, the game as a whole, I think supporters certainly love it. It's exciting. You know, they want to see goals, but us as managers, we want to see our defenders defending the box a bit better than what we did.
I asked Will about his pass out to look up for that first goal, because it was something a little bit special. He played it down a bit. Mm-hmm. But you see things like that happening on the park. How do you feel when you see that sort of skill coming out?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was obviously a bit of individual quality from Will Ferry, who, you know, for me has been one of our outstanding players of the season so far. You know, he's been a terrific addition. he's getting better week to week, and we want him to have the courage and to have the bravery to be able to play those types of passes. We have got two very attacking-minded wing-backs in Lucas Stevenson and Will Ferry, and obviously Ryan Strain when he comes back into the fold. And you've basically got your left wing-back passing the ball to the right wing-back on the 18-yard line, and Lucas Stevenson, as much as everybody's talking about Will Ferry's pass, Lucas shows real quality as well to take that ball down on his chest. Good awareness about the situation to square it for Louis Moult, and obviously Moulty taps it into the back of the net. But the wing backs for us are important aspects in terms of our attacking play, and we want them to have more goal scoring contributions as the weeks and months come.
Ross Docherty stepped up in the very last kick of the ball to take that penalty minutes after Louis Moult had left the park. Was that the plan, that he would be the person to take any kicks that were taking place, or was that just he had the bottle to do it?
Yeah, Ross Graham obviously stepped up in the 99th minute and showed real courage and real bravery. Sam Dalby was the one who was on penalties from the start of the game, but obviously Dalby and Moult were both off the pitch at that point. So Ross practices them. I've never seen him miss one in training yet. And he's got a sweet left foot, and as I said, in front of our own travelling support at that stage of the game, for one of their local boys, academy graduates, to be the man to take that penalty, I think is credit to him, and a really enjoyable moment for the supporters behind the goal as well.
You spoke about obviously Trapanovski's injury. He's going to spend a few weeks on the sidelines. Louis Moult kind of stepped into that role for the weekend, and does that see a sort of different approach? Obviously quite different players, but with Louis Moult filling that role, do you take a different approach to your sort of attacking play and build up?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've spoken enough about the flexibility within the group to be able to play different systems. We started the season playing a 3-4-3. On Saturday there we started the game in a 3-5-2. It worked really well, got our noses in front. We've had to change systems during games to back four, but it's all stuff that we work on here in training so that the players are understanding of what their roles are within the system. But the system shouldn't matter. At the end of the day, it's 11 against 11 out there on the pitch, and Moulty is probably our most natural finisher within the group, and that's him now 2 goals back to back. But unfortunately he limped off the pitch on Saturday in those latter stages, so we have to wait and see how he recovers. But certainly a really important player for us. That's why we fought hard to try and keep him in the summer, because we know that his goals are going to be extremely important for us this campaign.
Just finally, and personally for yourself, obviously returning to St Mirren, the club you spent a lot of time as a player and a manager, and obviously you've been back before, but just how do you find it going back to St Mirren?
I love going back. I mean, I've been back already a couple of times this season to watch them in games against other opposition, just to watch them in the flesh, and it's always great to go back and see so many familiar faces. A number of the players obviously were there when I was there. The backroom team, a number of those guys as well, were a great support to me during my time there as a manager, and obviously there's staff out with the football department who I've kept in touch with for all these years. So always a pleasure to go back there. The supporters were always great to me. I know there was a bit of disappointment when I left at the time, and but I think most people understand my reasons behind that. But loved the club as a player, loved being manager. Very proud moment for me, and really looking forward to going back there this weekend, albeit to try and get a result for Dundee United.